This is game number 7 already, and as always, I'm going to explain shortly what this stream will be about for the newcomers. And it is about this course on chessable. It's World Chess Championship 2024, Ding versus Gukesh. It is by International Master Andras Toth, and as he says, don't just watch the World Championship, learn everything you can from it. So, having said that, so we have info about the World Championship, and the most important to me is, of course, tactics and strategic problems to solve. Train your skills from games at the very highest level. So the good thing here is that we will be given positions from the current games, and we'll have to solve it by ourselves instead of just watching a stream where commentators give you their opinion by telling you either lines in a very fast way that you can't follow, at least I can't very often, and or they just have the evaluation bar from the engines, and basically you just watch, you are consuming instead of thinking by yourself and really learning from what's happening, and that is quite a shame. So that's what this course is for, and we are going to dive right in. Okay, so first we have to do the review sessions. It's from the past games that we already covered. We have 19 positions to solve, and as you can see on the left side here, we have the game 2, 3, 4, etc. And this is from game 3. What should we do now? White to play. I think I remember this position. It was attacking the bishop, and here it was, and I think I did this wrong all the time, but it was taking the bishop. Yes. So what now? It was attacking the bishop, the pawn on c4. That's the natural move here. Okay, and here I repeat that every stream. Andras Toth said it's quite obvious what will happen, but to me it was not. I didn't find it, but it was taking the pawn. Pawn takes, and now we have the move bishop g2, which basically gets the rook. So this is already nice. And next variation. So here we should try to get the pawn, the bishop. And this was done by not letting him go on his retreat square, and that is f5. So we have to play the pawn, takes. So we now take with this pawn. He comes for the rescue, and now it got tricky. So if we now just play rook c1, you wouldn't have such a nice outcome. So it's protecting the pawn first with the knight on e2. The other way around. Okay, so first attacking it and then, okay. Yes. And again, no, it was this one. And yeah, this is something where I'm really happy to have chessable with their spaced repetition, because you are given these positions more often when you get them wrong. And basically that's needed, as I forgot why. Okay, so it's the bishop instead of the knight here. Bishop. And now it's protected by that bishop, so now it's the knight move finally, yes. And now I can take the bishop, which was our objective right away. Yeah, and here I could read everything again, and basically I should, but we'll do this at a later time. I'd like to get through the reviews so we can get to the game right away. So, next variation, also from game 3. And what was it here? That was very interesting, I remember. I have to get the rook here. So that's why I attack it right away. And that was done by this move. And now we have a nice in-between move, because when I take the rook right away, the knight is able to take my bishop. So the in-between move is checking. And now I can take the rook. Exactly, I remember that well. And also why. Okay, all good. So now we're jumping into game number 5. And here it says, this move allows white to carry out a nice positional operation. How would you proceed? And I think I didn't get that one right. And I seem to also not remember. Now it comes. Okay. So it was, yes, taking the knight on f6. Correct. And now, tick, 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 tick. Yes, now it was knight to h4, because we had such a nice space for the, or square for the knight on f5. But I remember when I tried to put it now on f5, it was not correct. There was another move coming in, and I think it was a developing move, and that was knight b1 to d2. Because we also need the rook. Get all your pieces into the game. Hopefully that's right, we see. Yes, correct. And now... I don't remember, but to me it would now look nice to get the rook on e1 check. But on the other hand, we also would have knight f2 now, but is that too early? I think it is. I'll go for the rook move. It was incorrect. So yes, then yes, the rotation for the pawn to have a double attack on f5. Correct, my fault. Yes. Would have allowed the Indian challenger to play for the initiative. How? So Gukesh with the white pieces here. And what do we have to do? Of course, you're invited to always think with me and just write your solution into chat. That would be cool, of course. And you can also watch the videos of the earlier games. Okay, so, and welcome to the chat. Hello. So this would have allowed the Indian challenger to play for the, I think again it is taking the knight, because he, well, has to take with his knight. Otherwise his pawn structure goes really bad. And then, yeah, I think that was the move. I don't remember it really well. Oh, let's see. Incorrect. This move first, yes. Okay. A very exciting pawn sacrifice that gives an entirely new wild character to the game. Yes. And now I think I can take it. This was taken, and now it was pushing the pawn. I pushed the pawn. Incorrect. Was protecting the pawn, not pushing. We will read in a second why. Yeah, this move looks like a simple defensive measure, but there is more to this move than meets the eye. G4 knight is now in mortal danger. Of course it is. It is bishop to f5, I think. Protected, but is it the pawn move or the bishop move? I forgot. What would I play? Probably the pawn move. Yep. Alternative, so it was good. Now the bishop move is incorrect. That's always so interesting. Did you remember 3 moves ago? I thought, well, just push the pawn, and then I didn't do that. But this would be the best move here, really. Okay. Takes, and I take the rook. Correct. Next variation. So here the Chinese world champ missed a good chance to play for a win. Can you see how? Knight c4. Incorrect. Knight was good, but not to c4, but to a4. Yeah, he also played knight c4 and misses his best move, yet another critical by the world champion. So I played a world champion move, but just not with the best move. Okay. Yes, and how was this done now? Was this done? I don't know anymore. I think it was f6. Yes. All right. And now we have 2 options. It is rook e2 right away or taking the pawn. So I think it's the rook move first. But we lose that pawn anyway, so why not taking first? Because then the rook, the knight the king can come in and deny me the e2 file square. So I just take, and we see this was correct, and now I have to take. So it's again a matter of move order. Okay, and now I think taking with the knight. Oh, sorry. It's incorrect. Okay, and black has a monstrous initiative for the material, and the white pieces are completely tied down. Okay, I take it. Now we are in game 2. White accepts the challenge. How should black proceed? This one was about keeping the pressure. So we will keep the pressure here. So if you first have to take a look what this is about, I don't, because I did the streams game 1 to 6, and we went through this in depth before, and this is just a review now for the start of today, to keep them in the short-term memory so that they go into the long-term memory. It was keeping the pressure. We did. Here we should not be afraid to lose our queen, and instead we just take. And then we had the forcing sequence here, and that was the bishop to g4. It's overstudied, all right. Doesn't matter, that's what it should be. Okay, we have to wait a little until chessable comes up with the buttons again. So here we have now a very nice mate coming in. Hey, chessable, what's up? I just refresh. Web servers returning an unknown error. So this is super new. Let's see if it has this on all. I click on chessable. That's okay. I click on review. And we are back again. Can you still see that? Yes, you can. Okay, so a glitch in the matrix, as we say. Okay. Yes, and black has a huge attack. How this can be turned into checkmate is the subject of our next position. So next variation. Poses an interesting problem to which black has a very nice solution. How would you play? Oh, this was difficult. Don't fully remember this, but I think it was about removing the bishop and then placing the bishop, my own bishop, on d3, forking rook and queen. But how was that done? That was done this way. think with the knight first. Correct. Now it was take. Yes. And now, hold on, how did I do that? I needed... Okay, so far so good, but how do I get my bishop protected to d3 here? I forgot we have to see, so I will just go here, incorrect. I knew it was a pawn move. And black is winning material by force. The reason is, of course, I don't know. If he takes, I'll take with the rook. Forcing the queen, but those are still protected. Okay. Yeah, and now I can bring in the bishop. But here I have to take a look. Simply I have to, no way to go around it. So we are here. Takes, take, and we play c5. And now I would like to understand, well, what happens? Ah, no. Oh, yes. So if he takes with the pawn, I take with this pawn, attacking the knight, and there's no way to protect d3 from now forking both. Okay, all good, understood, well done, and next variation. Okay, black challenges us with the same idea. What is the best way to meet it? So here I remember that we had an in-between move by the knight. So this was taking this here. And now I'm allowed to take the pawn. And here comes the in-between move. And that was first taking the attacker. No, it was not. Okay, was this move first. Now it's double attack, so now I do this, and now it's okay. Oh, head shaking, missed the move. Okay. So now we are in game 6, an interesting position. White response justifies knight f d2 rather than knight b d2. How would you play with white? Wasn't this here taking the queen? And then he retakes with the knight, and then I'll take his pawn on d4. I think that's it. Maybe I'm totally off here. We see. Incorrect. First taking the knight. He takes, and then I have to retake the queen. But, yeah, yes, that was it. Correct. That's why he got to d2 with the knight. So now he doesn't have to get into a real bad pawn position. So we could just take here. And now we are about to take, and I would take with this one, and we're good. Okay, nice. So we are going back to and Leviathan, bishop d3, after the knight moves. Sorry, just saw it now. So, hello. Okay. Yeah, I'm just shortly writing to Gaurav. I was not watching. Okay, so whisper. Okay. Done. So, okay. Here would have kept the pawn, but this move allows black a serious initiative. How would you play? So it's black to play, and what was it? And by the way, guys, this is pretty amazing, as I have really took the look at in deep at these positions, and I'm now I just cannot remember, so I really have to think again. That's what is so good about chessable's spaced repetition. So it really forces you to get these positions into your head. So let's take a look. Black to play. Take, not good. So I would prevent him from castling by going to h3 with the bishop. I think that's best. And then we'll see. So I just go for that one. It's incorrect. Other way around. Okay, not this one, but that one. The move ensures that the white king gets stuck in the middle a fair bit longer. So same idea, but wrong side from my idea. So we just took, and now what are we going to do? Oh, I like queen g5. It prevents the pawn from further marching, and checkmate threat on e2. And with that, I just go for it. Incorrect. This is quite interesting. A very important move to play right away, as otherwise white can shut the bishop out with c3-4. Yes. Yes, I didn't see that, and I have to remember, of course. So it's always about your memory, that you understand this. And the more you do this, it will also show up in your own games, because you know, just in this position, they played this in the World Championship, and you basically can just have some kind of pattern recognition here. Okay, so very nice. And now the queen move. Still incorrect. The other one. But why there? Not it's all over. White position is full of holes on the light colored complex. There's nothing to be done against the invading queen. So, wow, what is the big difference between h5 and g4? I basically don't see it, but again, we still have 9 moves to go to, and we just see. Okay, next. So instead of h5, it is g4. Okay. And it's all over. White's position is full of holes again. So now we're having another position of game number 6. And in this position, White has a stunning idea to claim advantage. Can you spot it? Okay. I think it was rook to g7. Return would be rook to e6. And then I don't really know. But still, I think that would be great to move there. So I'll just give it a short try here. Let's see. Incorrect. Ah, the other way around. But why? What's the difference here? I'll take the pawn. He takes with the king. A brilliant shot. Lo and behold, mate in 2 is threatened with rook g5. Rook g5. Check. Yes, of course he cannot take. And then rook takes h6. Rook g5. Rook takes h6. Mate in 2 is threatened with a rook g5 check. What does he have to do? He has to take the pawn on h4. Only square to go. And then rook takes. And that is indeed a checkmate. Okay, understood. Okay. And last time I got it, I just didn't take the time now. Okay. So this is good. And what to play now? Can we just go on with the same thing here? Check, he has to take. And then what happens if I take g5, go g5, check? He has to take on h4. And with h4, he is giving away his pawn. But then my rook would be gone, so I first have to take the rook and then the pawn. I think that might work, so we see. Yes, now taking this, yes, and now taking that, yes, correct, nice. Righty, might look like an annoying move. How would you play now with black? It's from game 6 too. So, how would you play with black? This was tricky, I remember, and I think it is rook d2 right away. And then instead of taking with the bishop, with the pawn on these two, I would just keep moving. I think that is correct. Let's see. It's incorrect. First, the attacking the rook here. He took, and is it now the rook move? Incorrect. Now it's that one. And I will just keep on pushing this one. So this time I try again. It's not coming. Okay, I just put the move here. And that is the full thing. So I'm going to read through this. So rook h5 had been played, but in reality this was played. So king g6. Activity is key. I have to remember that. Rook takes h4, a5. Although black's lost the h4, its body is ready to replace it. Note how both white rooks are now passively holding pawns. Ah, I remember, yes, now. Okay, so rook h3, king f5. Black's piece activity is plenty enough to compensate for the materials deficit. Okay. Next variation to game number 4. Black prepares for the a5, a6 push by covering c6. How should we respond? We just continue, and the continuation is a5, a6, I think. Yes, and now I want to exploit this, and I think it is simply playing b5, attacking the pawn. Correct. And now we can just go on c6, and black is losing material because the queen is attacked and the pawn. And that is correct. Super nice. So welcome to the chat, of course, and we'll continue. Perhaps the most critical point in the game, what is the correct recapture for white? It is the rook move. I remember that one. Okay. And now it is taking here. And now we have to think what we like to do. And it was taking the knight with the bishop. This pawn structure is really bad, and yeah, this is just alright. White to play, and what was that one? I need to prevent his knight and bishop to penetrate my queenside pawns, and that is just done by b3. That's correct. Oh, lovely. Okay, 4 more to go. Can you find a very powerful and forcing idea that crushes white's position? Yes, I remember. This is game 1 and was a super sacrifice. And it took place by just pushing the pawn to here. I don't care about my knight. It's okay. I don't care about my bishop. And I take with the rook. Mouse slip, sorry guys. Funny, it also happens just here. So I still remember this. It's almost a week ago, game 1, but very well understood, of course. So mouse slip, it was of course taking the queen. We have 3 more reviews to go before we deep dive into game number 7. So white insists on maintaining the material surplus, and it backfires badly. What would you play here? Okay, here it is about a possible checkmate. I don't know if you see it already. If you see it or know it, just write into chat. Hello and welcome. And I know that this was by the knight on c6. It's all about getting it to e2, checking. He cannot take. The king needs to go onto h1, and then I show the checkmate. Okay, so now it was giving the check first, and now it's very neat. I can just take the rook, another check, and the checkmate coming in with the bishop. That's correct. Okay. So next one here, and we are having the following here. Ding is in a sticky situation as the c2 bishop, which is this one, is in mortal danger. The Chinese world champion had to find a very clever idea to stay. And okay, I know that it was. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It was said that this was an engine move, and Ding also just played it. So this was correct. And now with this, we can just counterattack the bishop. And that is all right. Okay, final review before new stuff is coming up. White has huge attack against the black king. How would you conduct the final phase? This is done by a super nice checkmate combination. And the check game combination goes by a sacrifice. Was that done first? Hold on. I think it is the knight to g6. Incorrect, it was the other one. Yes, it was checking. Forcing is always checking. Okay, next. Okay, not the rook, so this one here. Here he has now only one escape square. E8 and d7 are taken by the knight. And that's why his only retreat square is d6. And this needs to be taken by an in-between move with the pawn. And that is this one here. Yes. And now we can always give him a checkmate with that one. But yes, now we are good to go with the knight. Checkmate. And here we go. Super nice. Alrighty. Exit. And we are done with all the reviews. And now it's coming up for the learning part for game 7. Yes, game 7 is here. This is all new now, and we have to think together. So just let me know what you think, and we'll find it out together. So reading the text, an interesting alternative, denying black from creating a pawn chain with b7 to b5. Sorry. What would you play? Black to play, of course. Does anybody know in chat? I'll just take a quick look here. Nope. Okay, so Black has a dynamic sequence that secures a small but firm edge. Mm-hmm. Bishop takes f3 comes to mind. If the sniper on g7, that's also pointing at d4. The defender, the additional one, would be gone. So yes, I think it might be alright to first take the defender, but it's incorrect. Oh, look at that. A marvelous idea. Black temporarily sacrifices the surplus pawn, but manages to trade queens and go after the e4 pawn soon after. Now attacked, okay. Okay. Yeah. And now I played that. Hmm. A lot of options, and I'm not sure which one to take. I don't know. So just make a move, and my best candidate move here would be taking the knight now. And it's again incorrect. I thought about taking with the queen, but it comes with the rook, and to me that didn't really make a difference here, I have to admit. Okay. And now it's my plan. Take again, and I now, of course, have the pawn. Yeah, I just go. All right. And black is a pawn to the good. Okay. Next variation. So n takes d5 would have been too greedy. Knight takes d5. Can you demonstrate how white obtains an edge now? I think that is an easy one. I just take the pawn on c4 and have a double attack on the knight. And if the knight goes away, I can just take b7, and the rook is also trapped. So maybe that's it. We'll see. Take. Okay. Ah, that is in between now, of course. So, what to do? Didn't see that coming. Think rook 2. Knight to e3 is my choice. Incorrect. First chasing the rook. And white is winning in exchange as 15. Rook e8. Loses the knight on d5. After rook takes e8. Ah, I understand. Okay. Okay. So here, allow us to demonstrate an idea associated with Nimzowitsch. Time to demonstrate that you know the classics. Allows us to demonstrate and a time to demonstrate that you do know the classics. I do not know the classic. So what to do here? I think taking the knight, he takes with the rook, and then I just have to go out of the way with my knight to attack his rook. So I could, well, if I take it, he could take with the rook. So it's also not a nice idea. Sorry, but this is deep stuff, brain frying for me here. What to do? I'll take. All right, and now I could probably take the rook with my rook, or moving the knight away. Hmm. Don't know, although I got it right first and I cannot follow up correctly. So, keep up the pressure, I think. But how? Hmm. I'm thinking of a knight move here, but I don't know which one. Hmm. This is always so hard, but it's championship level. Don't know. I don't know. Gleaming question, best viewers on. Yes, yes. Yes. Okay. So, what to play, where to play. I think it's tough. I decide for taking the rook. Incorrect. This one, this one. Would have not thought about that in 10 million years, probably. Okay, so I just click on next and we'll go here and read the text. Okay, no text coming, will be later done. Okay, and now as it had been said, here I have nothing really forcing, and so I just go what had been said, plus 30 points. Okay. Good. Then we have the next variation, and yeah, looks very tempting, but it turns out that black's defensive resources are not to be underestimated. Can we take d5 now? So we have d5 here. Again, chat, hello and welcome. If you have an idea what to do here, don't hesitate and write it into chat, of course. So, how about, he said, can we take d5 now? Let's just calculate this. I'll take it with the knight. And he has an option to exchange it, but also to reduce my king defending pieces, aka the bishop on g7. Difficult, lots of decisions to make. So can we take d5 now? What happens if we take it? We'll take it with the knight. What is the best move here? So is there something else? Pretty exciting. Again, I don't see it. It's black, pink, so is there a good move with the queen? Basically, my queen is no, not taken. I have the escape square b3 for it. I think I can take a look for a way longer time, but I just don't know how to do this. So in this case, I'll see, do I have a hint here? High titles, no hint, are no hints. So I just do what I would have done naturally. I would just take, yes. And it is correct. So, and now if I am my rook is protected by that, so I'll difficult. If I take the bishop now, he has a move. He takes the knight with my bishop, but then it is pinned. Ah, so difficult. And tonight's quite troublesome also, as I'm so tired. It's a 50-50 chance, or even worse. It is. Check with the pawn. No, that would just not work. So I don't know. Just I just take the. It feels so bad. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how often I say this, but I have no clue. So taking the bishop doesn't seem to be right, because then the pawn bishop is hanging. I have to make a move. Oh, this is me in time trouble. I have to move, but I don't know what. It's very unsatisfying. Why not just a simple queen? It doesn't work. Okay, here, this way, out of the way. Taking that one. Queen comes in. This is to be taken. So what do I do? I don't know. It's checkmate threat. If the bishop takes and I do nothing, he could just bring in his queen to g7 checkmate. But I could always in between put f5 or f4 in that case. So I'll see. I think best is just taking the rook here. Nope, didn't work. Okay, that was my other candidate move, which I didn't tell, because these two are. And black holds the fort. White has no way to break in a sensational line. Yes. Okay, so we go for the last repetition before we go into the full recap of Game 7 by International Master Andras Toth. And, yeah, what do we have here? Tonight it's difficult. In this position, Ding dropped the ball with King e5, making it active, allowing the Indian challenger considerably winning chances. How should we have defended instead? Black to play. So it's not King e5. Knight g3. That loses the double attack. I don't know, it's guesswork. Okay, so we are just playing the knight move. Incorrect. Now, this was again my other unwritten rule, but yeah, okay. And here now we can block the pawns and attack other ones. So I would just go for knight d6 now. We'll see. Correct. Nice to also sometimes have correct moves. What is it now? What is it now? What now? I think King e5. But if I think it or not, I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. So, alternative, lovely. So that means it was a good move, but not the best move. We continue thinking what could be the best move here. So as this didn't work, I think we can now, with the rook, simply go to b7 and have a double attack on the b pawn. Let's see. Alternative. I found two alternatives, but not the best move. Oh no. It was my third move. I don't know. I really don't know. So maybe bringing the king to g5. Incorrect. So now I'm seeing the correct move. Getting to the open file. Okay, and all the black pieces are beautifully active. And holding the draw should be easy. Yes, yes. Okay, nice. So we are good with the game so far, with the reviews so far, And now, instead of clicking everything through, I will just go to the end, and here we have a continuation, king a6. And this is a draw, I think, yes. And so we just continue. Congratulations, hard work pays off, you finished learning the chapter. Okay, so next variation, and with that we should go right into the game. There's a play button, and we'll see if you can hear it. If so, I just leave you alone for a short while with the commentary, and we'll be back in a second. Hold on. So play.
What a
Yes,
battle. What a fight. What a heartbreaker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 7 of the World Championship match between Gukesh Dommaraju,
Yes,
the challenger, and Ding Liren, the world champion. And today, everyone had a sense that today is the day when the championship heats up, and that is exactly what happened. Gukesh started off with a very slow and humble Reti, but then he quickly turned into d4, and then it got turned into a full-blown Grunfeld. Not only that, but he actually introduced a novelty as early as move 7 by playing rook e1. A very clever move to prepare e4 and in fact play e4 without allowing black b5, b4 with a tempo, which is the downside of playing knight c3. So very clever novelty there indeed. In fact, he played him knight d2 to even benefit further from his clever holding back from playing knight c3, since now the knight is hitting c4. And at this point, Ding played c5. But instead, perhaps b5 would have been the best move, at least according to the mighty engine, who likes to hang on to this pawn. And indeed, this is reminiscent of a Botvinnik semi-Slav or a Geller gambit or a Catalan gambit line, where white has the central pawns, but black is up a pawn. It would have been quite an interesting scenario. Instead, Ding played the more Grunfeld-esque c5, challenging the center, but this definitely grants at least a slight advantage to white after e6, h3, takes and takes. The point here is that the d5 pawn is actually immune to capture, and it is a beautiful demonstration of the power of the bishops, because upon capturing d5, of course, we have got knight takes c4, and now you see the mighty long diagonal on the uncontested diagonal, since black doesn't have the light square bishop available anymore. And so the only way to avoid material loss is to play bishop d4, hoping to seal the d file. But of course, then comes bishop h6. And after all, black is losing material, and exchange is hanging. And of course, rook e8 drops an entire piece on d5, completely unplayable. Hence, the d5 pawn is indirectly guarded. And so Ding plays knight d7. And now after knight c4, white definitely has a slight advantage. It's a pass pawn on d5, although isolated, 2 bishops, and a slightly better piece mobility. Now, speaking of piece mobility, the a3 knight is definitely not a piece to write home about. But after queen b6, bishop f4, black is also desperately lacking access to a blockading mechanism. 98, 96 would be optimal. But obviously disconnecting the rooks in such fashion and in fact allowing d6 is completely out of the question. And so Ding instead continued to develop. And that is exactly what Gukesh did too. And here, Gukesh played an absolutely fantastic and innovative move, b4. This is what club players' nightmares are made out of, when we see this diagonal and the bishop staring down at the rook. But actually, this is the typical case where I think it's a good scenario to learn the importance of being open to exchange sacrifices, since the soul of the position from black's perspective is the dark squared bishop. So the engine's preferred line for white here, for example, after knight b4, knight e4, is indeed to just blindly give up the exchange and enjoy the immense potential of the white minor pieces, in particular the knight on c6, but also the 2 bishops are very pesky. For example, bishop e3 now hitting the queen, the a7 pawn is loose, and it is nothing but positional pressure, which of course is a very difficult call to make when you are contesting the world champion title, but these are the types of ideas that one needs to be open for, and Gukesh certainly passed this test with flying colors. Ding decided to ignore or rather decline the offer, but now we have access to the d4 square. And the blockade is imminent, or actually I shouldn't call it blockade, but the occupation of the very handy d4 square was definitely awesome. Yeah. Rook e1, a necessary pawn sack, which was promptly accepted. Perhaps a little bit of a mishap there by Ding, but a logical follow-up, because now this queen is so close to be trapped, but it just isn't. So now if we go rook a3, queen b1, king g2, then we have got nothing more than repetition between a3 and a1 to try to lock the queen in. We cannot trap it. It's not possible. So instead, white here needs to find a new target. And that's exactly what Ding did by playing rook a5. The spectacular idea basically is to attack the b5 pawn. But when I said spectacular, I was already thinking about rook a6. Now, this was a brilliant idea that our commentators, Daniel Naroditsky and Peter Liko, discussed in detail. This line is absolute bananas. And actually, one had to find here the ideas for white in order to reject it, because this line is so tempting. Look at it. Bishop takes g7. Here comes the first shock. Knight c7, whoopsie, and the daisy. But that's not it, because then we have queen h6. And we are announcing Matutski, or just about. But then it turns out, no, black is not forced to take the rook, which, by the way, would lose the game after knight e3, which is in itself a sensational move to deliver the checkmate with the knight. Note that bishop f6 is harmless because of knight e6. And in fact, after this position, knight e6 is indeed the move. And no worries, black holds. Now, I don't know if Gukesh calculated this. Maybe not. I don't know. But if he has done it, then wow, hats off to you, young fella. And instead opted for rook a5, best move on the board. However, precision is still required. He ended up taking the pawn after some repetition, a theme that keeps on recurring in the match. Gukesh always dodges the early repetitions. Queen d3, no thank you. Although he bishop e3, interestingly, is a very potent idea, dancing around the queen rather than allowing this pawn to come even closer onto the d5. Queen f4 played, queen c2, bishop takes f6, and now we are headed for a endgame scenario, which should be better for Gukesh. Note that the trend has been ever since rook b5, that, in fact, ever since c5 d5, I suspect, that Gukesh's advantage is floating in the language of the computer somewhere between 0.5 to 1.5. So it's on the threshold of better to clearly better, which reads in top grandmaster language, you should be able to convert. Queen takes, and bishop takes g7. Now, I don't know why, but at this point, Gukesh started playing some moves that were definitely suboptimal. The first of these was to trade the dark squared bishop. And as much as I don't want to sound like I know, what I'm talking about, or better than he does, it's counterintuitive. It immediately creates a situation where white has a bad bishop, provided that this d5 pawn is going to get blockaded. Whereas bishop g5 would have kept the bishop pair, and this bishop could have come back to e3 to operate very nicely against the a7 pawn. Granted, c3 looks scary, but now is the time for this bishop to shine. And all of a sudden, the dual purpose of blocking c3 and hitting f5 works like charm. Beautiful idea. I guess Gukesh wanted it to be extremely clean by taking and then mopping up the pawn by playing rook c4. And fair enough, rook c5, excuse me, fair enough. But now you see the stark contrast between knight and bishop. That knight is the best piece on the board, and the bishop is a struggler. And in fact, here, Ding missed a very interesting idea, which I think it's very, very simple. I really don't know how to phrase it so that it doesn't sound condescending, but he has already played the moves knight c6 and then knight to e7, right? So now clearly he was en route to d6, to the optimal blockading square so that even Nimzovich would send a chef's kiss. And instead he plays king e5 in this position, actually, abandoning the pawn on h6. All he needed to do here was to play knight c8, put the knight on d6. Ta-da, beautiful blockade. The knight is now blockading the pawn, attacking the other, defending f5. This is just the best piece ever. And after rook b4, rook c7, easy to see that now the black pieces are super active, very much alive. King e5 can actually come later on. Now that we optimize the rest of the army, holding the draw should be easy peasy. Instead, Ding goes king e5. And now rook h4, and again, white is in the driving seat, should be able to convert or at least come very close to that. So what happened here? Rook takes, knight c3, rook c6, very logical, kicking the knight, knight e4. And here, I think Ding really should have played h4. I really don't know why he didn't, in fact. Perhaps he was a little bit concerned about rook d5, but that doesn't quite explain the move king e1. Knight d2 checkmate, but after king g2, knight takes, king takes, this rook ending seems entirely hopeless because the black king is cut off along the sixth rank. And so I'm just ready to rock and roll the pawn up all the way to h6 at the very least. And then I can swing my king around this way, or I can walk my king and find a new target here. Either case, it seems completely winning. So king e1, oddball. I really don't get what he was thinking, why he did it. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. And Ding, he started to defend rather precisely very soon. H4, rook d3, activating. Now, what I want you to observe here, which is very, very impressive, that just because there is a H pass pawn, an outside pass pawn, our most feared and dreaded enemy in an endgame, just because it's running up, it doesn't mean that we have to just accept our fate and defend with our tail between our legs. No. On the contrary, these are the times when a good defender, and here the defender merely reflects the side who is down material, not the mentality, plays very aggressively. You need to generate problems to the side who has the material surplus. That is your only chance to throw the spanner in the works and somehow fight your way out of it. Passive defense when you're down material is the worst way to play. And Ding's aggression here is absolutely delightful. And by now, that's it. The chance has gone. F4, take. And yeah, once again, these absolutely amazingly active black pieces. I mean, look at it. It feels like we're getting mated with the white. Bishop d1 check had to be played. These super active. Oh, look at it again. Another nasty threat, a discover check. So I will finish now the half sentence. These super active black pieces cause all kind of trouble. They really do. And yeah, why just can't consolidate and start pushing that pawn without constantly bumping into a new hurdle, a new problem. And now the pawn is lost. Yes, we pick up f5, but now there is simply not enough material left on the board. And the rest was a royal mop-up, like Ding just chased down the pawn, captured it, and yeah, in a couple of more moves, all the material fell off the board. Now, I call this game very dramatic, and the reason why I did is because, like I said, at multiple points, like even in this end game here, Gukesh was way ahead, right? And from here on out, it feels like he didn't really have a good go at trying to convert this end game. Earlier on, he should have kept the bishop pair and pressed the end game from there on out too. So I feel like there are lots of opportunities, or at least there were in this game, missed by Gukesh. And what I feel, or what I'm thinking, is that I am getting more and more Nepo. And what I mean by that is that Nepo had missed a fair number of chances during the match too, and Ding managed to slip away with a draw. He managed to escape here, escape there, and ultimately managed to get the better of his. Well, back then both of them were challengers technically, but you get my point. If you would like to win a match against the reigning world champion, you must seize opportunities like this because they will not come back easily. So now we're back to the drawing board as far as Gukesh is concerned for the next white game in round 9, and you will have to come up again with something cool in the opening, and you have to build it up from scratch. But before that happens, we are going to have a game 8 tomorrow where Ding is going to be sitting behind the white pieces. And I do suspect that we are going to see now a more ambitious play out of the world champion too, just like we saw it in game 7. So excited to see you tomorrow with game 8. As for now, we are done. Dustin, thanks for watching.
Okay, thank you, Andreas. That was really nice and well presented, of course. So, yeah. I'm, of course, all in for Ding now. Yeah, as you know, if you are a frequent viewer of the series, on day 1, I already announced that I'm rooting for Ding because I just like his personality and he's also funny. Just in case if you haven't seen that part where he was asking about if you saw the meme about him chilling. He didn't know what chill means. It was explained. And then he somehow said he didn't have ice cream. And so it became some kind of running joke. So Ding for the win. And yeah, we see how this continues. Very exciting. And I wish you a very good night. And see you later for game number 8, of course. Bye bye.